Greetings metalheads and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George and today I'm going to be showing off another batch of my latest heavy relics, my latest acquisitions. I've got 5 items in total, 3 cassettes, good old fashioned tapes, and 2 vinyl. All of these items were purchased from the Cult Never Dies web store during their recent sale. They've had a bit of a sale going on to make way for future stock and projects I think they've got going on. It's a great web store. I've mentioned them a few times on this channel and bought a whole ton of stuff actually off them over the last few months. This isn't all of the items that I bought in that sale. However, I wanted to keep these 5 together because these 5 are firmly in the black metal category. So I thought, for the sake of preserving our pigeonholing and our subgenres, I would stick with the 5 black metal releases. Also because I didn't want to be sitting here jabbering on for hours and hours covering all 10 or so items that I bought in that sale. So anyway, we shall kick off with, and I really have got a real mixed bag here, I must admit. We'll kick off with the shortest release. All of these are quite obscure recommendations, I must admit. I'm sure that if you are a really devoted, deep in their underground metalhead, black metal fan, then absolutely no doubt you'll be familiar with these artists, familiar with these albums or releases. But for those of us who maybe we're still exploring and still learning the subgenre, these are definitely some records, some albums that I would check out. So we'll kick off with this first one. This is a band from Lithuania, in fact. I'm not too familiar with many Lithuanian bands. This is the only Lithuanian band that I am aware of. I'm not too sure if they've got a particularly active scene or not. But this band is entitled Eresis. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. Feel free to correct me if there's any fans out there. So I'm going to say Eresis or Heresis. Not quite sure. But this is an EP from 2018, I believe. This is entitled The Bleaking. Now, if you can't tell already from that artwork, this is pretty dark stuff. This is very dark. I'm not even entirely sure what is going on there. I can see that there's a tree, some sort of portal looking opening in the middle, and then we've got an eye. It's all a bit kind of trippy. And I would say that The Bleaking is definitely a very fitting title for this EP. There's the actual cassette, lovely silver tape. So it's the same on both sides, A and B. It's a short-ish EP, about 20 minutes long, consisting of 3 tracks. We have Amid the Uncanny Wonders, Those Tremors, and Amid the Ever Intermingling Portals. So yeah, you get the kind of idea, and that's their logo. You get the idea. This is trippy stuff. This is out there. This is a bit psychedelic, and I would go as far as to say that this is quite ambient black metal. I really can't think of too many bands to liken them to. However, because there is quite a lot of, shall we say, progressive elements and interesting, certainly with the vocal styles, it's very haunting, it's very atmospheric, it's quite spacey. I would say the closest thing that I can think of is that there bears a slight resemblance to some of the more progressive areas of the Enslaved catalogue, which is an absolute compliment because I love Enslaved. I think they're a fantastic band. However, that's the closest kind of likeness that I can give it. I'm not entirely familiar with kind of like ambient or I guess more kind of progressive black metal, but this is really good. This is really good. Vocal work, as I say, is very haunting. It's very chilling stuff. It's very out there. It's got a very big sound to it. Of course, it's black metal, as I say, so you've got plenty of frosty riffs. You've got brilliant musicianship across the board. It is a full band, so it's not like a couple of person or one person project. That's the actual lineup. Not really sure how to interpret that, but those are the members. But yes, this is really good stuff actually. Amid the Uncanny Wonders is more of a black metal track, formulaic wise. Good song. plenty of great riffs. There's some crushing drums as well, pretty calamitous stuff. Then we do get a couple of tracks that are quite progressive and quite a lot spacier, to be honest. Particularly the closing track, which is a bit of a lengthier one, amid the ever intermingling portals. That is definitely out there. It's very psychedelic stuff. But this was released on The Other Records, which I am not familiar with, was not familiar with the band or the record label, but I saw it for, I think it was a couple of pounds, so I was willing to take a chance. Certainly, as it said, it's quite progressive black metal, it's quite spacey stuff. It's really good. Definitely would like to check more of them out. Eresis, as I say, if you like progressive black metal, if you like quite ambient black metal, then you'll definitely like this. And it's a really nice thing to have. As I say, it's like 20 minutes long. It's just a cool thing to stick on the little cassette player when I've got 20 minutes to spare. So that's our first article. A good one. I enjoy it. Not necessarily the usual sort of thing that I reach for, but as I say, it's still really good. So this second release then, we'll stick with the tapes for now. This is I believe this is actually the first full-length album. It's not the first release from this band. This is an international effort. It is a two-person project. We have an Italian and a Norwegian member. This is Darvaza with Ascending into Perdition. So this is the debut album. This was released last year, I believe, in 2022. This is cracking. I really like this, and I do like that artwork as well. It's it kind of has a slight sort of tarot resemblance to it. It's creepy stuff. It's creepy. It looks evil, and this sounds evil. As I say, this is not the first release from Darvaza. I'm not sure how you actually are meant to pronounce it, so I'm going to say Darvaza because that's how it's spelled. That's the actual cassette tape there. Really cool. Kind of got like a grey case. And I really do like the amount of detail that's on here. We've got little symbols, lots of stuff going on. It's just cool. It's a really high quality product actually. I do particularly like this artwork inside. A nice ritual, which is perfectly fitting iconography, if you like. A very fitting picture to have in there because this is a real black metal ritual. Some more cool artwork throughout. And I should mention, this is released on Cloven Hoof and Terrature Possessions. Yep, so I suppose that's a joint effort there. Really good album. Really cracking stuff. This is a good mixture of original, kind of traditional black metal, I should say, in the vein of, shall we say, Marduk, for example. And I use them as quite a good reference point because they are a good example of a black metal band which is far heavier, more intense, don't have a lot of synths or any synths at all. They are more of a abrasive black metal assault. They are the black metal war machine. But there's also different elements in here that bring to mind bands such as Immortal, certainly when they're being a bit more atmospheric and a bit more kind of ambient. 6 tracks in total. Not a particularly long album, somewhere in the region of about 40 minutes, I believe. But start to finish, this is freaking great. I absolutely love this album. I've been listening to this tape quite a lot recently. And it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We kick off with a track called Mother of Harlots, which is straight at you with that kind of brutal, pummeling black metal assault. As I say, very much in the vein of bands like Marduk. And what does not go unnoticed is the brilliant musicianship here. So we have Creations by Omega and Venom by Wrath. So I'm assuming that Wrath is the vocalist and Omega being the instrumentalist. Both of these musicians, both of these people have been in a whole host of other bands right across the black metal spectrum. Pretty adept musicians and vocals as well. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Really good. As I say, Mother of Harlots is a brilliant way to open the album. We've got 2 tracks, The Spear and the Tumult. There's a second track on side A, and also the second track on side B, The Second Woe. that's where I'm getting this kind of like Immortal style kind of ambience. It's got great melodicism to it as well. It's quite emotive stuff. It's really enchanting. I think black metal is a really unique subgenre because it can, even though it's a very aggressive style of music, it can really create some truly beautiful atmospherics and ambience, some truly hauntingly beautiful music. And that stuff, those two tracks, as I say, the Spear and the Tumult and the Second Woe, they are completely encapsulating. You feel like you are in a ritual. If you can imagine that in your mind, or create your own little altar and listen to tracks like those two, it takes you there. Absolutely fantastic stuff. I really, really dig this a lot. And as I say, they've got a few other releases, EPs, prior to this album, and I'm definitely going to be checking them out. Other than that, we've got a few more sort of cracking, heavier tracks, such as Mouth of the Dragon, which is a really heavy number, in fact. Killer riffs, absolutely brilliant. And also This Hungry Triumphant Darkness, which has a little bit of that kind of Dark Throne pace to it, where they are a bit more of an up-tempo band, by and large. Really good. Absolutely brilliant. Love this. Love this release. So this is Ascending into Perdition from Darvaza, or Darvaza. Not quite sure. Absolutely brilliant. As I say, was not familiar with that either. That band, bought it because it was very inexpensive in the Cult Never Dies sale, and was very encouraged by the likenesses that they were mentioning there. So, our final cassette then. This is from a long defunct Swedish black metal band. This album was released in 1998, and this is from a band called Sargorth, and this is Lay Eden in Ashes. Again, this was very inexpensive, just a nice standard black shell. We've got the print on there, really cool. And we have our nice insert as well. This is released on Impure Wedding Productions. I'm not quite sure of the year of this reissue, if you like. However, I believe it is recent. I believe this is a limited run. Now, what can I say about this album? This album is really good. That's what I'll say about this album. Lay Eden in Ashes is a really good, solid black metal album, very much in the vein of bands such as Immortal. I'll use them as another reference point. Immortal or early Emperor, very much in that vein. Absolutely. We've got plenty of killer riffs. We have a couple of sort of, I guess, ambient elements in here. We also get a lot of melodic black metal influence as well. A little bit of dissection comes to mind at times. But there's some cracking tracks, such as, after the intro, we have Crowned with Victory. Brilliant track. Some really delightful black metal riffing there. Of course, the drumming is furious, machine gun style drums. Wrath of the Undead is another good one. Without Devotion of God, beg your pardon, is another really good one. And also the title track, Lay Eden in Ashes, which is preceded by an intro piece, which is prologue to Lay Eden in Ashes, and it also has an outro as well. So it's not a massively long album, but this is a standalone album. They didn't have any other releases, or they may have had a demo or something, but there was no other full-length albums, no other EPs. And it's surprising, really, because this could easily be interpreted, or, if you didn't know the background, where they were from, what year it was released, you could easily think this is first wave, or first handful of bands of the second wave of black metal, early 90s, or almost certainly would have assumed this had come out of Norway as well. Of course, that being the hub, if you like, of black metal, that second wave. Really good album, absolutely cracking stuff. As I say, dissection elements in there, Immortal, a little bit of mayhem as well. Very different to Eresis, because that's, as I say, that's very modern sounding, very progressive. This is straight to the bone, good old black metal with some thrashing, crunchy riffs, absolutely lovely stuff. Brilliant, absolutely top notch. Late Eden and Ashes. If you like early Emperor, you like earlier Immortal as well. If you like Mayhem, you're going to love it. Absolutely. Cracking stuff. So those are our 3 tapes. We've had Ressis, Darvaza and Sargorth. Now we've got 2 vinyls for you. So we'll kick off with this first one. This was a band that I had never heard of until I saw the album cover there, and I was immediately really interested. This is L4, so that's Elffor, a band from Spain. This album was released, I think this is probably not their most recent album, and I can't quite recall the year of release. However, this is quite recent. This is entitled Condemned to Wander. Now, just hold that artwork up there. That is beautiful stuff. That is creepy as hell. Absolutely sinister, creepy stuff. That's the stuff of nightmares. Love it though. Really good. It's kind of got that cold medieval vibe there. Insert with more creepy art. Awesome stuff. And then we've got the lyrics there. And I believe it is just a standard black vinyl. But it's nice. It's heavy duty vinyl. It's not cheap, thin, crappy vinyl. But really good. Really interesting album. I would say this is obviously black metal, as I have mentioned. These are all black metal albums. But this is a bit of a wild card because, as I say, I'd never heard of them. It's black metal, absolutely. However, it's also very ambient. I've heard it, or I've read it being described as dungeon synth on a few sort of sites. I'm not familiar with what dungeon synth is, but I can understand where that name would come from in relation to this band, to L4, or particularly this album, Condemned to Wander, because it has a whole lot of atmospherics, a whole lot of ambience. It's really interesting stuff. It's got some great black metal riffing. Drumming is great throughout. It's pretty much just sort of steamrolling through. The vocals are set back. The vocals are not at the forefront. They're kind of like merging, blending into the background, almost like haunting spectral voice that's disappearing into the background. But then we've got synths galore. We've got keys over the top. We've got, I would say, sort of almost like folk metal, folk instrumental elements in there as well. And it really works. It's only got 4 tracks on this album, but those sorts of titles as well: Over Emerald Forest, The Burial Mound, Old Icy Tomb, and can't pronounce that last one, but absolutely brilliant. Start to finish, this is really good. The whole album just really flows. It's almost like a seamless kind of transition between songs. It really does flow. It has beautiful connectivity. Really good stuff. There aren't too many bands I can really think to liken this to, but what I would say is if you like very ambient, very, very dark, very trippy kind of music, you're not too bothered about having synths coming out of your ears, absolutely overflowing with synths and ambience and atmospherics, brilliant stuff. This is perfect sort of video game soundtrack. You know, if you're playing Skyrim or good old Oblivion or something, this is the perfect sort of stuff for that soundtrack. And what I was really surprised to see is the fact that these guys have an absolutely unbelievable rate of releases. Since the late 90s, I believe, they've had about 23 albums, if you include a series of about 3 or 4 that were alternative versions. So you've got, high teens or up to 23 studio albums in that time. That's insane. That's prolific stuff. But L4, Condemned to Wander, check it out. Check it out. It's a really odd one. If you like bands like Dimmu Borgir, but imagine them with more synth and more kind of atmospherics, then L4 is a band for you. Condemned to Wander. Really nice to have it in a nice big vinyl format. So that brings us to our final article then. And this, I would say, is probably my favourite of the albums. This is from a German band entitled Eminenz. So that is Eminenz. Eminenz. This album is entitled Diabolical Warfare. This is the most recent album, last couple of years, I believe, 2021, maybe 2022. That is the artwork. I got a cool poster, so I thought I'd show that off as well. There's the band, looking seriously deep into it. Very black metal, very cool stuff. And this is a storming good album. I really, really, really like this album a lot. Check out that artwork. Fantastic stuff. So how would I describe this? I would say that this is definitely black metal. However, I would say that this is injected with a few other elements. Just quickly show that lovely purple vinyl. Really cool. Looks the part. Lovely. Can't go wrong with a nice purple vinyl. Why purple? I'm not sure. With black metal, purple isn't the colour that sort of leaps to mind. Red, maybe blue. Not really sure. Just sort of thinking of cold, icy colours, really. But great album. Absolutely fantastic. Diabolical Warfare is an interesting mix of black metal in the vein of bands such as Dimmu Borgir and Dissection, certainly when we're considering the more melodic elements. But there's also a big injection of really, really brings to mind Mystic Circle as well. So if we think in the Dimmu Borgir, Mystic Circle, Dissection, kind of the end of the black metal spectrum. Really, really diverse stuff. There's also quite a strong death metal vibe as well throughout. It's not just typical or generic black metal, not by any means at all. There's a lot of death metal elements in there in the form of some really crushing, bruising riffs and some seriously monolithic grooves. But what we have got throughout is really awesome sort of intros and ambience and atmospherics. We've got almost like Gregorian chant style stuff. We've got almost sounds like some sort of diabolical ritual going on. We've got the sounds of this epic battle here. Absolutely awesome stuff. Absolutely brilliant. Love the artwork. You've got these sounds of battle and these screams and the clashing of blades. Really good stuff. We kick off with the title track Diabolical Warfare, which is killer, absolutely killer opening track. Heavy, punishing after a brilliant sort of intro with plenty of ambience and atmospherics there. Lucifer's Awakening, that's more of a traditional sort of black metal song. First Renegade, that really does kind of bring the death metal influences to the foreground, or the elements that do sound more death metal than black metal. Crushing riffs. Brilliant vocals as well. Vocals really remind me of Mystic Circle. Just a brilliant. If you liked Mystic Circle, then I would say that this is a guaranteed win. Mystic Circle being a band also from Germany who incorporate a lot of very theatric elements into their music. It's definitely black metal, but it's got a serious injection of kind of symphonic, of melodic elements. It's just got great dynamicism and a bit of a death metal edge as well. Replica Satani, brilliant stuff. Frozen Shadows, Doom Dominator, start to finish. This is a really cracking album. If as I say, if you like Mystic Circle, if you like death metal that's kind of leaning towards black metal, or black metal that's leaning a bit more towards death metal, this is a guaranteed win. Diabolical Warfare from Eminenz from Germany. Check it out. Absolutely killer stuff. So there you have it. That is my 5 recent acquisitions from Cult Never Dies. I would definitely recommend checking out their web store. I'll put a link in the description. They've probably still got some sale items around. I'm not sure if any of these are still available. I think Diabolical Warfare is still available on their web store. I saw not that long ago. So if you can pick that up for next to nothing, to be honest, it's seriously worth it. And any of these other articles as well, I would absolutely recommend getting. So just to recap, we had Eresis, heiresses with the bleaking. For fans of, as I've mentioned a little while ago, kind of enslaved, a little bit of Dimmu Borgir. I'm trying to think of some more sort of like obvious recommendations or obvious resonances, but those are the ones that leap to mind. Then we had Darvaza, a band that absolutely hammers it home. This is a freaking black metal ritual. Definitely an essential for, as I've mentioned, sort of fans of Marduk, but also Mayhem. Probably should have mentioned that first time around. There's a big Mayhem influence here. I'm really picking up. I'm also thinking not just the more obvious choices, but more recent or the latter catalogue from albums such as Chimera, for example. I'm getting a lot of that kind of brutality, that mayhem aggression in this, and this is a freaking great album. Ascending into Perdition, check it out. It is an absolute essential for any Mayhem or Marduk fan. Then we've got Sargorth, as I mentioned, Swedish long defunct black metal band, an essential for fans of early Immortal, or earlier to mid period Immortal, and early Emperor as well, and Dark Throne, getting a bit of that in there as well. Absolutely cracking stuff. Then we have from Spain, we have L4 with Condemned to Wander. Very synthy, very trippy, very creepy, very ambient, very dark black metal. Good stuff. And then we have, probably my personal highlight out of this bundle. This is Eminenz with Diabolical Warfare. And this is just savage, definite must-have for any fans of Mystic Circle, Dimmu Borgir. That's what I'm getting anyway. Really cracking stuff. A good blend of black metal, melodic black metal, and also a bit of a death metal injection as well. Some cracking riffs, just bestial vocals throughout. Brilliant stuff. Absolutely love it. And of course, it's on a lovely purple vinyl. So, what are your thoughts and opinions on these bands or on these releases? Are there any other fans of these particular articles or artists out there? I'm very interested to hear, of course. Please feel free to share your thoughts and opinions. Do check out Cult Never Dies as well. Support the underground scene. Thank you very much for watching, my friends. Feel free to like and subscribe. As always, it's very much appreciated. We're getting a real little underground following here. We're over 300 strong now, so that's really freaking cool. So thank you all very much, and let's continue to grow this. Hey, why not? Thanks for watching, my friends. Take care of yourselves. Check back soon for more reviews and recommendations, and stay heavy.